Do you guys remember the PlayStation Classic? I sure do. The device sucked out of the box. Like, what the hell was Sony doing? But, stuff like Auto Bleem made this thing amazing. But the one problem with this was 9 out of the 20 games were 50 hertz PAL versions. Do you remember that? It was just like, why? Why do we have European games on here running in 50 hertz, running slower than what, we were accustomed to in, the North America and, some Asian territories in Japan? Like, most of these games weren't developed in Europe that were being presented in PAL 50 hertz. It just didn't make sense. Now it looks like there's another controversy that is the same thing. Sony's classic PlayStation games on PS Plus appear to be 50 hertz, even in non-PAL regions. I would imagine in PAL regions, they wouldn't even want it to be in 50 hertz. Like, they had to deal with that for so long up until like after the PS1, and then, whatever, no longer 50 hertz for the most part with their gaming consoles and all that stuff. But yeah, PS1 and before it was 50 hertz over there. But I would imagine, why would even like PAL regions want that? Maybe there's some regional differences with some games, but it looks like with this PS Plus launching and launching soon in other territories, like we don't have it quite yet. I believe it's coming up in June. But for games in Asian markets that were NTSC, why are they running in 50 hertz? It's bonkers. So on this Video Game Chronicles or Chronicle.com article, I want to quickly go through this because I've been seeing this floating around today. And I'm like, this is just kind of bonkers. So some classic PlayStation games being added to PS4, PS5 appear to be the slower PAL 50 hertz version. These started appearing earlier today in the Asian region PlayStation stores ahead of the revamped PS Plus coming to select markets on Tuesday. So these were like games that you could buy, games that are going to be part of the service type of thing. So a user playing the PS1 version of Ape Escape via the Indonesian PS Store first noticed that it appears to be based on the PAL version because its credits, just like how a lot of us discovered that with this, had Sony Computer Entertainment Europe listed as the boot up sequence, right? Instead of America or Japan, and runs at 25 FPS instead of 30. Interesting. All other first-party PS1 games in the classic lineup, including Everybody's Golf, Wild Arms, Jumpin' Flash, and Karushi, also appear to be based on PAL versions. VGC has confirmed. Earlier, they weren't sure, but I did see that they updated this. That like all these games, first party games are in 50 hertz, and then a bunch of others too. So addition, both Worms games, World Party and Armageddon appear to be based on PAL versions. However, other third-party games service such as Tekken 2, Siphon Filter, Abe's Odyssey, and Mr. Driller appear to be based on the NTSC versions. I think what did we have on this? Tekken 3. Wasn't Tekken 3 a PAL version? So Tekken 2 this time's NTSC. So they go on to just explain PAL version video format, or PAL as a video format, runs at 50 hertz compared to NTSC's faster 60 hertz refresh rate. Many PAL versions of early console games are considered inferior due to their slower speed, with some even sporting borders at the top and bottom, right? Indonesia uses the PAL format, so it would perhaps be unsurprising if it issued European versions. However, VGC has verified that the exact same PAL versions are what are being offered in the Taiwan PS Store, a region which uses NTSC. This could suggest that Sony plans to roll out PAL games globally, but why? Why would they do that? Like, maybe this was a mistake, maybe it was like a regional thing, but it wouldn't make sense, like, for this to go live, these PS1 games, to go live in any region to be like the PAL version, unless it's in Europe or in a region that used like those versions back in the day. Some people would be fine with that in those regions. Some people I've seen from comments on my own channel, like, yeah, we don't want that. But maybe some people are nostalgic for the way they ran and they're in Europe and they want that. I don't know. Like, I can't argue any of that. But my whole thing is like, if they're already doing this in regions that didn't have PAL versions to begin with, it makes no sense. Like, this thing shouldn't have launched that way. It seemed very lazy. And that's why this thing got a lot of criticism. Not necessarily because of the game list. Like, the game list, like, there's good stuff on here. Like, there's some classics on here. But when almost half of them were PAL versions, that rubbed people the wrong way. It didn't tickle it for a lot of people. It didn't tickle it for me until we started getting hacks for it, and we could fix those issues and add games, all that kind of stuff. Instead of running these, in the PAL version, run them NTSC type of thing, right? So really, I would hope when this launches and people want to pick up these games or get PS Plus, whatever, that it's not going to be this way, because I think that is fairly ridiculous. And they do talk about it here, how the PlayStation Classic, man, in 2018, that was 4 years ago this thing came out. Dang, time flies, dude. Was it 4 years ago? It seems like yesterday, man. I know I keep doing videos talking about some of these mini consoles and like when they came out and stuff like that. I did not realize it was almost 4 years ago, or around 4 years ago. That's crazy. While it was never officially confirmed why Sony opted to include the inferior PAL versions in this thing, the classics, such as the US, where the format was never used, one reason may be the multiple language option offered by European versions. And I did see that as being one of the biggest comments in my videos concerning the PlayStation Classic, was like, well, a lot of these European versions of games supported a bunch of different languages, so it kind of makes things easier and more accessible to people. And that's true, because you could have like a PAL version that had like, have like Spanish, would have French, would have German, English, it'd have multiple options. And you get like the version that is released in the US and it's only in English type of thing. So I understand that, but it's still, it's like, I don't know, dude. Like you gotta make sacrifices, and is accessibility with language the sacrifice you want to make? And just say, we're just going to put the English versions that don't have language options? Or do we want to put a slower version that people may be annoyed with and talk about more and complain about more? I think people would complain more, which is what happened with the PlayStation Classic, about it running in PAL 50 hertz than having multiple language options that weren't included in the NTSC version to begin with. That's just the way I'm thinking about it. I understand accessibility, but maybe even a lot of the people that like would have wanted those languages would be like, oh, hell no, I don't want this running in 50 hertz. You know what I mean? What else do we got? Yeah, I think that's about it. The full solution won't become clear until PlayStation Plus rolls out in more regions over the coming weeks. It's worth noting that Nintendo also faced criticism for appearing to add 50 hertz versions of its Nintendo 64 games to the Switch Online service last year. However, by launch, it confirmed that it made both NTSC and PAL versions available. So there we go. These tiers that have these games type of thing, I think the extra and premium with the retro games starts rolling out in June in North America and Europe. Yeah, kind of crazy. We've been talking about this quite a bit lately, but really hopeful for anybody who is interested in PS1 games that we don't get this lazy weirdness. Like, I mean, if they came out and said we did this for language options, like at least there's like, what their reason was, right? But they don't state that, so who knows, man? Let me know what you think down below. Are you going to subscribe to PlayStation Plus Premium or Extra? Are you going to be getting any of these PS1 games? Let me know. Thanks for watching. Bye.